All right. Welcome back to the Everyman Guys. I'm
Guys.
Jim.
I'm Will.
And today our topic is habits, good and bad, and ones we would like to break and make.
That was good.
I feel like that
That
worked.
was an unintended
That
rhyme.
was.
I feel like we could just end it there.
I feel like so.
That was good.
All right. Well, catch us next Thursday.
So,
So should we tell them about our format change on our
I think,
releases?
yeah,
perhaps?
go for it.
So we are filming this on a Monday and probably going to release it on
Why,
a Thursday.
Jim? Why are we filming it on a Monday?
Well, we decided over the weekend after we filmed episode 5, which should be coming out on Tuesday, that we're going to start doing 2 episodes per week if, obviously if it permits. We're going to do as best we can to make sure that we get you 2 episodes per week of the Everyman Guys. That way, you're getting more of us and we're not so much of a weekly, such a long space in between because we love filming these. And honestly, that's the biggest reason.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like personally, like it's just the amount that we're enjoying it is like not that it was unexpected, but like it's not unexpected. It's what I was expecting, but it's so
easier,
enjoyable that it's almost like it's sort of like an escape.
Definitely.
In like the best way possible. Like it's so being able to put as much out there as we can doesn't feel like work, and we're just giving more for you guys to be able to watch and listen.
Yeah, and this week by our Thursday release, we will be having episodes on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, that's the goal.
That is the goal. But yeah, let's get into this episode, this topic, habits.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with you because you probably have more
Well,
good habits.
Well, I was going to say
than I do.
I think we could start with our bad habits.
Yeah.
And then sort of move into our good habits and habits that we would like to form.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is something that everyone can relate to because, like, I mean, on pretty much everything you do, your day starts with a habit.
Yeah.
It starts with a habit that you've formed. Like, for instance, even just waking up in the morning, my tendency is to hear my alarm, get up, and then lay my head back down. I always have that thought of, all right, you can either get up and then you'll be up early, say early for me, early enough so that you'll have plenty of time to get ready.
Right.
Or you can lay your head back down, and then it's like I lay my head back down because I know I'm not going to be late, but that's even something like that. It might, I guess, habit like, and routine.
It's kind of like muscle memory.
Yeah.
Just kind of what you always do.
But number one bad habit, biting my nails.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go with that one.
I've had that habit since I can't even remember when, but I remember getting to the point where it was just like I would bite them so much that literally like it would hurt to get in the shower, like the water just getting in it, and then I couldn't even because like like when you press your hand, like your nail obviously pushes against it, so it's below that point. So like I would try to like dry myself off after the shower and literally couldn't even do it.
This is my horror show because one of my big like obsessive things is fingernails, and my fingernails are always trimmed. I used to bite them when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But like for, a little while, but I get very obsessive over fingernails, and that hurts.
Even just like the the negatives for like normal health of biting your fingernails is horrible. And it's like I don't even think about it.
Right.
And like I'm sure there's tons of people that do it and say like why does it really even matter? But like not that it does matter, but like I don't know. I mean, it's just a bad habit that you don't need to like it's not good for you.
Breaking habits like that is more of a personal just want to kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There are habits that affect other people that you want to break, but that's a habit that like doesn't really affect me.
It has to like mean enough to you.
Yeah, exactly.
To really grind.
Just recently stop, or maybe it's been like a year.
Well, I've gone like in between. Like I've gotten to the point where I was like, oh, I actually have like fingernails. Like, and then it was just like before I knew it, it was like You don't even know you're doing it.
Right.
Like,
Mine are clipped every week.
yeah.
Like it's a fine tune. I do not like the whites of nails showing. I hate it. But
Yeah, biting my fingernails, I would say, is definitely a negative habit
Negative
that I
habit,
would
yeah.
like to break, and we'll be working on. And I will get back to you in 2 weeks and let you know
I'll let
how
you know
it's
how
going.
it goes. But yeah, I mean, that's a good one. I don't have many of those. I don't think.
It's more like routine based.
More routine based. I don't have
Yeah.
a good routine, but I would say waking up in the morning, my habit is, I think it's a lot of people's habit, is snooze to the very last second, more even beyond the very last second. It's just kind of like I set my alarm for 5:45.
Yeah.
I'm probably up by 6:30, 6:45. It's like I just, if I got up at 5:45, I could make breakfast, I could eat breakfast, I'd have time to do all the stuff I need to do in the morning to feel good. Instead, I'm like, oh crap, it's gonna be late, and you know what I mean? And it's rough, but like every morning it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Boom, 10 more minutes. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
just the worst. So like that is my all my habits are routine. My bad habits are routine based.
And it's sort of like hard to like figure out, like, say, the difference between like a habit and a routine. But I think
Yeah.
like your habit leads to routine. So your
Yeah.
habit, say, could be hitting snooze. So if you
Yeah.
get in the habit of
becomes
not
my
hitting
routine.
snooze, like it sort of becomes your routine.
Yeah, good
And
or
like
bad.
I think there's definitely a difference between, like, say, like bad habits and then like routine based habits. Like
Yeah.
I do this. I don't ever hit snooze, but like I'll have different alarms.
Right.
Like I think I have two. So it's like but
have
it's funny
three, yeah.
because I'll wake up to the first alarm and be like, well, I know there's a second alarm, and I know
So
I
you-
have to get up. So it's like, why don't
Yeah.
I just get rid of that second alarm,
alarm?
and then I'll get up at the first?
My biggest fear is not having my alarm go off, because at least if I hit snooze, I
Yeah.
know that it's off and I'll be up in time. But if I you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if I don't have two, just as a safe
Well-
bet, like I can't sleep because I'm like, wait, what if I don't wake up?
Do you only have your phone as an alarm?
Yeah.
See, I used to do that, and then I bought an alarm clock, and like that's awesome because like, say, I don't know, like if your phone either is on silent, I don't know if your alarm still goes off if your phone is on silent. I think it does.
I think it does.
But like, there's been times when my phone was dead, and I only woke up to my alarm clock,
Yeah.
and it's also louder.
Right.
In this one alarm clock, I wish I could like tag it for them because they might be interested in it. But if you just look up on Amazon, like light up alarm clocks, I have it like to where it's like pretty much right in front of, like I always lay on
you
my
were
side.
telling me about this, yeah.
So it'll go for like 10 minutes. It'll almost be like a sunrise.
Okay.
So like the light will shine like max brightness right at my face, and it's
okay.
like a subtle brightness,
Right.
and the alarm is subtle.
Oh, I got
So it's like sort of like not like an abrupt like wake up call.
Yeah.
It'll like subtly wake you up. So if you're like struggle to get up in the morning like that,
I think my thing
That's
is I need
really
to have
good.
an alarm clock like on my desk, because I have my bed, and then my phone is always on my bed, so it's
Yeah.
my alarm. But if I have it on my desk, then I have to get up to hit snooze. I feel like I need to do that.
I've heard of people doing that where they'll like put their phone like in the bathroom, but like how
Yeah.
do you hear it?
I know. I couldn't imagine putting it out of my room.
I use a fan.
If I put it in my bathroom, my dad will hear it. That'll wake me up.
Yeah, because your dad will come and punch you in the face.
Exactly. But I definitely think, like, me and my brother both work at the same place. We both have to get up at the same time. We both have our own alarms.
Yeah.
And neither of us are up
When
at the
you
time
want to
we
be.
want to be up. We always get up going, oh, I wish I would have gotten up earlier. You know what I mean? And it's like, well,
Just get up
Just
earlier.
get up
I know. It's so the blueprint is so easy.
the plans you have before you go to bed are immaculate. To only be ruined by 1 minute after your alarm going off.
Because,
like, I always have
dude,
these immaculate
yes.
plans, and I'm going to be doing this at this certain time, and then I freaking wake up at 6:45.
The worst,
15 minutes
the
before I have to
absolute
leave.
worst is like literally I'll do that every time. I will wake up and I'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna, like, it feels so good to just lay back down,
Yep.
take a deep breath, and then you wake up and it's
Satan
15
himself.
minutes past,
Yep.
and you're like, are you kidding me?
You-
You're like, if I literally would have just gotten up when my alarm went off,
These things would have been all
every
different
time.
and better.
Every
It
time.
is literally the hand of Satan. It literally is just like, lay back down, you'll feel better. And you feel worse. It's like a nap.
That is a habit I would like to. I heard this one thing on TikTok where this
So it's
girl,
probably
I'm
not
sure
true.
I'm sure a lot of people follow her, but like she's like all about habits and stuff. And she was saying about like, oh, put a cup of water like next to your bed.
Put
And
your
she
hand
said
in it.
as soon yeah, and go to sleep like that. She said like put a cup of water there, and then as soon as you wake up, reach over, take a drink of water. And she said because like that'll like wake you up, and like that's like gets your brain functioning, and you start to like be like that's the start of your day.
Yeah.
And like I tried it, and I was just like I just don't want to drink the water, so
I
then I
know.
just don't drink the water.
Kind of hit snooze on the water.
Oh dang, it didn't fill the water up.
It fell over. That's all
But
spilled.
no, I tried that for a little bit because I was like, oh well, that makes sense. Like you
Yeah.
drink water, that gets you like started, that gets your day started, but it just didn't last as like a.
Honestly, though, the thing with me is if I get up, I'm up. You know what I mean? Like I don't walk around.
Yeah, like physically get up.
I'm not like
Same.
Like
I'm the same way.
when I wake up, I'm up.
Yeah.
So it's just that act of opening the eyes and just honestly, I just have to roll. I just roll myself out of bed and I'll be out and I'll be good.
Yeah.
But it's just the act of getting out of bed.
Yeah.
It's just so hard.
I know. It's the hardest thing in the world.
know.
Life is
And
so difficult.
It's so difficult. it's yeah, it's hard. But you put it in perspective, it's not that hard.
Yeah. So that's okay. So we'll work on that.
Yeah.
Shake on it.
Together.
We'll work on that as a family. And you guys let us know how that goes for you.
If you want to try it, yeah, try it.
Unless
We'll all
you're
work on
okay with getting the work like slightly later than you want to every
Yeah.
single day,
or just late.
then that's fine.
Well, at my work for a while, it wasn't a big deal if you were late.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not late, but you know,
Like everyone,
was a
you just did
forgiveness
your 8
grace
hours.
period, yes.
Yeah. If you were
But-
like kind of within a certain amount of time.
Yeah, you before 7:30, and you know, you were good.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of like more like, all right, can you be here on time? And it's like, I sure
Probably
hope
not.
I can. I would like to, but you know, yeah, it's whatever.
I got another one for you. We just talked about it before we started this podcast. Posture.
Posture, yeah. I've been working on posture.
I have been working on that as well. And it's so difficult. It's not so difficult. Let me preface this.
It's difficult if you haven't. done it.
I struggle with it because like I feel like I'm like
We're both
doing
kinda
this.
like now,
I feel like I'm putting my chest out as far as I possibly can. In like in an unnatural way. But I think it's because you're not naturally doing that all the time. Like I feel like I have good posture until I put my shoulders back. I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't feel natural. So then
Right.
I'll just kind of like, all right, how do my shoulders fall?
Yeah.
But like your shoulders are gonna fall how you've trained them to fall.
My biggest thing is I don't want to be sitting there like you know what I mean?
Scrunch.
Like,
yeah, scrunched
So,
is
like,
one thing, but like I feel
right
like
now I'm very
now you're
mindful of
thinking
my
about it.
posture. But I
Okay,
said right before
let's
let's
just
just,
straighten
readjust. But like this here is what really annoys me is that my foot isn't over here.
That's
We're just gonna have to end the podcast here and start over.
no.
That
so
feels
like,
like a
I'll
million
literally
times
so like
better.
I will be
I've
standing
done
there.
it for 6
I'll be standing there and instantly think about pot because like whatever going to
Yeah.
the gym and like being healthier this year, that is my focus.
Yeah.
I'll instantly think of my posture and then I'll put my shoulders back and I'll be like, I feel like I'm just trying to be like,
I feel like you're like those birds they talk about that they're trying to like
Yes.
they're pluming.
but then
Like-
like you don't want an arched back. So it's like you kind of got to find that happy medium.
Yeah.
But then
Did you
like
ever
I'll
see that-
constantly be thinking
Did you
about
ever
if
see
I
that
look
video of the girl? She's like, "All right, I'm going to teach you how to have the perfect posture." The guy's like,
Yeah.
"Okay," and he like puts his walking around like that. Like it's so true.
like an arched back is just as bad as like the opposite.
yeah,
Because it's not how your body's like naturally.
I think I could do
Positioned.
this for like 30 years and still not have an arch back based on how
Yeah.
how scrunched I've been. And in church, I'll sit there in church and I'll instantly be like, "All right," it's like, and the second you do it, you're
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And every bone
And
in
it's
your
the
body
hardest thing
cracks.
because like I'll follow along in church with the paper.
Yeah.
So like I'm constantly looking
Uh-huh.
down and like then I like feel it in my neck and then I move I crack my neck like 14 times, and then I'm like, okay, how do I sit up straight? and
How to be
and
a
hold-
normal person?
yeah.
How do I? You're just kind of. Yeah,
And
I know.
like at work, I I have and I do like drawings for
Yeah.
like cabinetry and stuff.
Right.
I got a standing desk, and like
Right.
that's been amazing. Like because I can raise it all the way straight up, and it's almost like hard to have bad posture,
Right.
Because I have both my hands on my desk most of the time. So
Right.
like as soon as your hands go up, it's kind of hard to slouch. I mean, maybe not, but like if you're
yeah,
standing there
yeah.
and you're looking straight, it's like much easier. But
Yeah.
that has been a game changer because I sat at the desk for like a year and some.
Yeah.
And then
Just
as
wasn't
soon as
doing
I
it.
got that standing desk, like that was amazing.
Yeah. I stand all day at work mostly, because I actually do physical labor.
You blue collar trash.
You ever find yourself just standing at work? But
You might drive a Ford truck.
exactly, I don't drive a Ford truck, but yeah, I would say that I don't need to like the only time I run into posture really is at church or just gaming.
Yeah,
It's hard
that's
to.
tough.
Because you're sitting there and you're just like, but like, you can, and that's
Yeah.
kind of a good way to practice it. But it's like, sometimes I'm more focused on trying not to slouch.
Yeah,
Or even in church, like I'm more like, okay, if I just do the, all right, we're singing the last hymn. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it's like hard to
Yeah.
even focus because you're like, if I sit at this
Uh-huh.
correct angle, but it's. I would
Yeah.
agree with that.
I wanna get a-
posture is.
I want to get a standing desk for at
Church.
home, for at home, because like I work at an office all day, and then I come home, and then I'm editing videos for say most days
Right.
or whatever on my computer, and
Right. Also, you want to just be able to brag.
yeah, I have two standing desks. It's whatever.
Who needs to sit anymore? The future is standing. Yeah. We were actually just talking about this today. If I can go on off on a little tangent,
Yeah.
at home we were eating dinner, and my sister works at a coffee shop, and she's like, I love the people who feel the need to tell me that like they're either like helping the environment or they're like doing something special. She's like, this one guy, she's like, he asked for a coffee and like a bagel or something, and she's like, do you want a bag? He's like, no, I don't want it to end up in a landfill. You just put it back there or recycle it or whatever. And she's like, you could have just said no.
She's like, okay,
And-
I'll put it in the landfill for you.
That's what I said. You
And
should
I'll
have
write your
just
name
turned
on
right
it.
around and put it in the trash. I was like, don't brag. Don't brag about your
I'm okay
own
with being.
choices.
I'm okay with being encouraged. But
if
like
you came to me and were like, yo, if you're working on posture, standing desk is great.
when we were,
But
dude,
if I were to come to you and be like, oh, man,
Yeah.
I've been, my back's hurt. Well, I actually have 2 standing desks and my
Yeah.
posture's never been. It's like, don't
Yeah.
do that. Don't do that.
when we were,
That's a bad habit.
when we were in Disney World, I went with like my nephews went,
Uh-huh.
and like I was going and getting them drinks, and they got they were getting soda,
Yeah.
and a lady came up to me and I'm like, how old was I be?
When was it?
17.
I think I
was-
remember
was
the
I
time. We
still in
weren't
school?
friends
I don't know
at
if I
the
was still in
time.
school.
I
but
think I remember.
anyway,
going.
it was a while ago.
Yeah.
And she came up. She's like, she looked at me, and then literally, I wasn't even having a conversation with her. She's like, "Oh, I thought you were getting them water." And then, like, that was literally all she said. I'm like,
That's
"Cool story." No,
no. Why
I'm
would
like,
I
I
get
didn't
them
ask
water?
you anything. I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna go feel horrible for an hour.
People
That's
just
like
have
that's
way
like
too
that's
much,
like top of the line.
People have way too much. That's a bad habit. That is a bad habit
Yeah.
of telling people.
That's not encouraging people.
But even if you think that you're doing the wrong thing, you can think that, but just don't tell. Like,
Yeah, just worry about yourself,
do your own stuff,
lady.
I know. If you're so concerned about what I'm doing, you might want to.
They probably have. That would mean they have a lot of their own issues that they're dealing with.
Yeah,
Probably.
They probably were trying to decide whether they wanted soda.
They
or
need
water.
Jesus, Jim.
They do.
They do,
They do.
and you do too. Amen. Hallelujah.
That was a weird little thing you did there.
It was.
It
But we're
was.
gonna roll with it.
We're gonna roll with it.
What do you got, Jim?
How
How about a habit that you want to form?
what I want to form.
Yeah.
Getting up. We're not talking about alarms again. I would say a habit I would like to form is it's kind of a flashback to our first podcast, or no, our second podcast.
Our podcast, the Everyman Guys,
The
new
Everyman
episodes
Guys.
every Tuesday and Thursday.
Yes, check us out.
Wow.
You're already checking us out.
I know.
Oh.
Doink.
You couldn't even say anything. But I would like to start getting my gym routine down to a absolute science instead of I'll see what time I can make it, or if I make it. I would like to start making a habit of this time go to the gym, whether it's later or right after work. It doesn't matter to me, but I just need to work it out.
Yeah.
I need to work out a habit of eating. Like, it's just kind of a habit of
It's another
planning my
routine-based
day.
habit that
Yes.
you're trying to form.
a habit of getting a habit of following the plans I make for the day.
That's
and
a
not
good one.
breaking them. You know what I mean? Like, get in the habit of telling myself, no, you told yourself you're going to do it. Go do it. And not just, well, I'll do it tomorrow.
Like holding yourself
Holding
to
yourself
a higher
yeah,
standard.
Getting the habit of holding myself accountable for the stuff I do during a day.
in the stuff that you want to start doing.
Yes.
Because that's one thing that's tough is like bad habits are way more common than good habits.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like because they're so easy. Because it becomes a habit because it's just the easy way out.
Yeah.
And I think like the best thing, which again we've talked about already, but like getting in a routine where it's like you do it enough times, it becomes a routine. And like say going to the gym, like having a time is like
Yeah.
the best way to go about it, because if you kind of leave it open-ended, it's the same thing with getting up early or the same thing with eating healthy. Like if you leave it like open or you give yourself like say
Wiggle room?
parameters,
Yeah.
like this is what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and like say don't hold yourself to a standard of I'm eating 100% healthy all the time. I'm
Yeah.
doing this is it 100% all the time. Like eat 80% healthy.
Yeah.
Go to the gym twice a week. Like
Yeah.
start out small, but like
Yep.
you can kind of adjust your habit as you go.
Yeah.
But like
It's
don't
just
know.
doing it over and over again and just getting into the mindset of doing it. It's
Yeah.
really that's the forming your habit is just consistently doing it and just do it for a week and just
Yeah.
get into the rhythm of doing it, and then it'll be easy to do it from then on.
I like that one. I really like that one because that's one that's a good habit that I would say I have
Right.
currently going, and like just I
Yeah.
love that because it works really well for me, so I can vouch for it.
Right.
Like especially like say like I know you have the want to. The only thing you're lacking is the parameters
Yeah.
and like that structure of like this is what my new habit is,
Yeah, exactly.
or like this is what the new routine is.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a good one. To add on to a habit I would like to form, I would say getting in the habit of just literally like one, I know it's like so cliche, but like one day at a time. Because here's why. And like, yeah, like I know it's a very cliche thing to say, but like, so is, I want to go to the gym and exercise.
Yeah.
Everything is, but not everyone does it. So therefore, I would like to do it.
Cliche isn't necessarily bad.
Yeah, that's a good
It
one.
isn't inherently bad.
I like that one. But taking it one day at a time, because like it's so easy to say, okay, going to the gym. I'll put it in terms of that for you, and kind of like so they can kind of work together.
Yeah.
If you automatically think about, okay, this is what I'm gonna do, and this is what I'm gonna do every week. This is what I'm gonna do every month. This is what I'm gonna do every year. Then it becomes this huge thing that you have to be
Huge
concerned
undertaking.
about.
Yep.
To where instead, if you're just like, okay, today, can I wake up in the morning and be diligent about my reading and praying, or can I wake up? Can I after work just today? Can I make it to the gym at this time? Yeah, I think it's like good to be like, okay, every day I want to go at 4:00. Like I don't find anything wrong with that, or after work.
Yeah.
To where you set like a general parameter,
Yeah.
but like as soon as you set it to where you're like, well, am I going to be able to do this for 3 weeks? Am I
Right.
going to be able to do this all year?
Yeah.
Then most of the time the answer is going to be no, because you're thinking about it in a way of like,
You're thinking too
it's
far
this
in advance.
huge thing.
Yeah.
It's where it's like, if you break it down to just one day at a time, like tomorrow, when tomorrow comes, if
Yeah.
it comes, can I make it to the gym today?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no reason I can't, so I'm going to go.
Right.
And then don't worry about
Don't push
anything.
it to be like, well, what happens Friday when I can't make it at this exact
And
time?
then
'cause
you
I'm hanging
and then
out
you
with
start to
friends?
think, because when you do that, then you start to think, well, I may as well not even go today.
Yeah, it's not even going to work out this way, so I can't get in the habit
Exactly.
of doing this
And
way,
you
so-
don't know
yeah.
what's going to happen in the next 2 days, 3 days, or 2 hours.
Exactly.
So I would say like yes, it's a very cliche thing, but it's something that I would like to be more fluent in.
Yeah.
Is taking it one day at a time, and even
More
going as small
instantaneous.
as one
More
moment at a time.
instantaneous, instead of having to convince yourself to take. Like when something comes up, be like, okay.
Yeah,
I
like
just want it
even with
right away.
even with like work stuff.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I start thinking about, okay, well, this needs to be done, and this needs to be done, and that needs to be done, and it all has to be done by this time. It's like
Right.
instead, just break it down. It's this for now, and
Right.
then when I'm done that, I'll think about this for now. Some stuff you got to plan out more so than just say
Yeah.
whatever the next 10 minutes.
Right.
But yeah, I would say like
Keeping it simple in your head.
yeah, like for example, I don't, and this is like maybe not completely the same, but I felt that it was the same. We just went snowboarding on Saturday. Shout out to Connor, because I was snowboarding with him the whole time. We went down this like super, I think it was a double black,
Yeah.
and it was pretty much like straight down.
Right.
And literally the whole time I'm thinking like, okay, so if I'm not carving enough, or if I look too far ahead, it can be intimidating because of how steep it is.
Right.
But I literally didn't look past, say, 5 feet in front of me. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take it 5 feet at a time. And it was perfectly fine. Yeah,
Right.
you're still flying down the hill. But it was something that about like thinking of it in small chunks, in like one step at a time, to where it's like one carve at a time.
Uh-huh.
And like
It's
that's
kinda
it
like-
really, for some reason, it just hit me when I was doing that. I was like, oh, that's like,
It's
that
kinda
should be like
work.
applied to life more often.
Yeah, it's kind of like work or like anything that you're doing, like where you have to spend a long time, say 8 hours. If you just think, oh, I have 8 hours when you get there in the
Yeah.
morning, instead break it down into, well, okay, I have this many hours. So say we have a coffee break, okay, and then I have this many hours after coffee. You know what I mean? Like just break it down
Yeah.
into little portions that you can consume. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't eat an entire steak with one bite. You got piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to cut it. You got to cut it up and make it manageable. So you got to do that with your plans. I like that one. That was good.
Yeah, it's a very standard one
Very
that you
key.
hear all the time.
Yeah, but it's yeah. I had one. It was. I have it again. This might actually be my number one, and this was actually commented, but we didn't think we could make it a whole episode. But I'll make it a habit right now. Money and managing money each week. I would like to get in the habit of betterly, dividing up
The
that.
habit is
The habit is getting being more financially.
Responsible.
Say Friday comes and I get a paycheck. I want to get in the habit of making sure that I put each.
so
thing
that's the
toward
habit.
The thing, yeah.
The habit isn't being better with money, because that's more of just like
That's a broad.
that's a really broad thing.
But I'm
the-
okay. I'm good with money. It's more just like I wouldn't say I'm good with money, but you know what I mean. It's more
Yeah.
just like as soon as you get your check, within the first 10 minutes
Yeah.
if you have the money in your account, make sure that you have. You've done your due
Yeah.
diligence. You've made sure that each thing is properly spread out. Make sure that you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like you have this bill coming up. Okay, make sure I have all the money I need for this bill in there.
Yeah,
I have this expense coming up, and then whatever's left over, then you know what I mean? Like
I love that one.
it's something that you just have to get
and
better
it's,
at. I've been doing it, and
Yeah.
I've been getting better at it, but it's something that I always need to get better at because eventually it's going to be more.
That's what I was gonna bring up. Is that like right now, it's so easy when you're not married and you don't
Yeah.
have like say major responsibilities. Like
Right.
say you have your car, you have your phone, like whatever.
Yeah.
But like it's very easy now when you don't have like say a house to
Major
support or
responsibilities.
a family to support.
Yeah.
Then when you're in that situation, not that everyone does that, because I'm sure there's people
Yeah,
that don't.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like when you're in that situation, like you're like you have to.
Yeah.
Like you have to do that. And like when you're in our situation where it's like limited amount of bills and you kind of it's like, well, I know I'm going to have enough money to do that.
Right.
Thankfully, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying like it can be easy to overlook it because it doesn't feel that important
Right.
or feel say necessary all
Right.
the time. I definitely agree with that. Like
It's
I could
more
I
like-
could be
it's-
I could be better with that too.
It's more like, say, like I pay board every week.
Mhm.
So I am good with that because I have to be because
Yeah.
I give my parents board, but so like when rent comes, when I get a house and rent comes, I'm pretty good with sparsing that out, make sure that. But
Yeah.
like with other bills, like smaller stuff that I could be like, oh, I could just cover with that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't need. It's learning to make sure that you put each thing away each week. That way, it's not
Yes.
this big expense. It's, like you just said, we just said about making each bit at a time. Instead of making, okay, in 4 months I have this giant bill.
Yeah.
Okay, well, each week I have this amount, this little bit of money to go towards this thing. That's
It
in 4
becomes
weeks.
not a giant bill
It becomes
because
not a
you're
giant bill
preparing
because you're
for it.
subtracting each off each
And you know it's
each
coming.
week.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I would say that's a big thing. for
That's
me,
a
is
really
getting-
good one. I
Getting
think
into
there's
the habit of really making sure that I have everything put away where it should be before I go spend, leisure
Any amount
money
of
or
money.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that one. That's a really good one. I would say this kind of relates to both of us, but getting more focused on our filmmaking. And I think the habit. Yeah, I think the habit. Because what would be the term for like,
I don't know.
oh,
if
I
this
want
is
to do this more.
necessarily a habit. I think this is more necessarily a.
Get into see, that's what I'm thinking
It's
is
more
like
of a.
a want to?
No, I think we want.
No, not want to more. The
Want-
want to is there, but I'm just trying to think of what the word is that's like say
money. No, it's
Time.
honestly time.
It's not money, it's time.
It's time and the weather permitting. Like it's been so
Yeah.
erratic around here with weather wise that we're
Well-
trying to shoot a baseball short and it's like
How do you shoot a baseball short in like
the dead of winter.
30-mile-an-hour winds?
And
I
it's
think
like-
the habit is setting a day or like daily, just having the habit of checking in on said short
project.
film
Yeah.
or on say future projects.
That way it doesn't get buried.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like I think that okay, so that's the habit. Is like I would like to get to that point because there's no reason we can't.
No, not at all.
Like there's not a real valid reason. Like sometimes I'll have wedding videos that I'm working on, but not enough to be valid to be like,
We-
oh yeah, we haven't touched that.
We
in like
talked about this
3
like
months.
a year ago, maybe more. We
Mhm.
were on Xbox and we were talking about committing fully, and it was
To
maybe
filming.
maybe like a 3-hour conversation. I mean, it still hasn't quite happened yet.
And there's really not a valid reason why. It's sort of
Well,
just
it's-
it's sort of just life gets in the way.
It's life. Like we work full-time jobs,
Yeah.
Monday through Friday, 8 hours a week, sometimes more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like okay, and here in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, it's during the winter. It's dark at 4:30.
Yeah.
So I work till 3:30. You know what I mean? You don't
Yeah,
really
not
have time to
everything
go
is
out
going
to
to
a
be
field.
filmed in a house.
And you don't have time to go out to a field and film a baseball short
Yeah.
in the amount of time that you need. Okay, well, we have the night scenes, so we film night scenes, but we need day scenes. We have, and it's like, well, we have a lot of them, but we need more, and we need to,
Yeah.
certain people can't commit each day. Some people, you know what I mean? And it's like, if you're not an official project, say like, payments, you're making payments
Yeah.
for this, a lot of
or
time.
say you have 8-hour days that you can be
Dude,
shooting.
yeah.
It's
Once
just
you get
like-
that, you it's a lot easier. Like we'd be done 50, but
Yeah.
that's not our
It's
job.
the
right
passion
now.
project. Like as soon as we had that horror short, it was like there was no option. Like it was like you have it done this time or you're not in the contest. And like having that
and
and
what
it's like
that is, it was so short and it was all inside.
truth.
And we filmed that.
Truth.
We filmed it once, and the lighting was bad, so we refilmed it. And both times it took one night,
Yeah.
2 nights tops to the second time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, okay, so that worked. But when you're dealing with outside, when you're dealing with with our baseball short, we have like 4 or 5 people
Yeah.
from multiple families doing it. It's like acting in it. It's hard to, it's
Yeah.
hard. And Saturdays, okay, well, we work all week, and then Saturday comes. Well, we want to spend time with our
friends,
friends and our
and usually
our
it's
loved
day
ones.
stuff.
So it's like during the day we go do something. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, we can get up earlier. Well, I want to sleep in on Saturday. You know what I mean? So that's the sacrifice you have to make. But it's like,
Yeah, like I think
this is why I think this has been working so well, and we've been loving this because this is kind of up the alley
there's
of what
nothing
we like to do,
yeah,
and we can
there's
just come in the
nothing that
basement.
kind of really stops us.
No.
Because it's so like we have the setup pretty much kept here.
Yeah.
And it's not hard for you to get
No.
here.
It's
It's
not
literally
weather
just
permitting.
us two.
It's
And
just us two.
yeah.
We
No,
don't
this-
have to write scripts. We just literally come and
Yeah.
talk. And, I mean, we prepare beforehand, but even this one, we didn't really prepare.
Yeah.
We came up with the subject.
Literally as we sat
We
down.
kicked around the idea of doing
Yeah, that's
this
fair.
podcast,
We did talk about
doing this topic, but we hadn't really decided, okay, this is definitely what we're doing Monday.
Yeah.
But it was just easy enough to sit down and talk. That's why this has worked so well, and this is why we chose to do this, is because
Yeah.
this is so much easier than, and easy isn't even the word for it. It's just
Yeah.
it's much more
You,
manageable.
there's so much enjoyment coming from it that it doesn't feel difficult. Like even
Right.
if it was difficult,
Right.
it's
We're
so
not sitting here every
enjoyable.
week going, well, what else can we talk about? Like, we've never done that.
Yeah.
We could talk for another 4 hours
'Cause
on
yeah.
most topics.
Yeah.
So it never comes to that.
I'm hoping to get to the point where it's like we're talking about like say a vacation or like whatever
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, to where it's like we have sort of just like catching up to do. So like yeah,
But even
it's like
now,
there's there's constantly new stuff to talk about, and
Yeah.
like
Somebody
again
said
we're
that.
talkative people, so it's kind of
Yeah.
easy.
I don't know who said it, but somebody said, I was listening to a podcast and they said the best thing in the world on a podcast is it's like bad news and good news kind of work because it's a story you could tell in your you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
can make it into something, you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
can go through an experience and whether it's bad or good, you can make it into a podcast episode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of
Yeah.
true. Like, so it's, I would say, yeah, I would agree with that one.
And I think the habit is like daily, at least say again, starting small.
Yeah.
At least think about it. At
Yeah.
least think about it daily. So that's a habit I would like to form, because if I'm thinking about it, it's very easy to be like, okay, well, what do
And-
we do? Like, when do
yeah.
we have free time? Okay, maybe we could work this in, and then move on from there to at least working on it
Yeah.
for 20
And
minutes.
then when you have that time, you need to execute that time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's the
Not
hardest thing.
You I have a free Saturday, and nothing
Dude,
happens.
good habits are very difficult to
Yes.
get off the ground.
Yes.
This like when you wake up in the morning, you have two choices. You can either get up or you can lay back down.
What is
and
the
it's so
one of them?
unbelievably easy.
Let's put it in perspective. Get up or lay back down. One of them is a nice warm bed that has been your cradle for the last 8 hours, and you can just go to sleep and nothing bad happens. Or you can get up into the cold, where you don't know what's
go
going
to
to happen,
work.
and go to work and go out in the cold and have to go into work and hear loud noises and
well, obviously, get up and go to work.
go to work. Right? That's the choice you have to make. But
Yeah.
that's
But the thing
that's
is like there's stuff that you do every day that you don't necessarily love, but you do it because it's a habit.
there's instantly
And you
instantly
form that
gratifying things,
routine.
and usually those are the worst things.
Yes, and perfect example is being healthier.
Yeah.
It's not an easy decision.
No.
If I could order out every night and have chicken parm every night like that, of course that's one that's
ideal.
easier, and two that's more enjoyable. But my tomorrow self is going to wish I didn't do that. So therefore I'm willing to make that sacrifice to be the best version of myself
Yeah.
as I get older, as I move on. So it's like the good habits that you want to start forming are obviously not going to be easy,
Right.
but more importantly, they're going to be very difficult to get started.
Yeah, exactly.
Because once you start going and you do it, say for a month and 2 months and 3 months, it doesn't even become something that you're like
Right.
putting a lot of effort into. It's a habit, so
Right.
you do it naturally. It's not something you're like working at really hard every single day. And again, taking it one day at a time makes it unbelievably easier.
Yeah.
Like eating healthy can be very overwhelming because, okay, you made this healthy meal today. Okay, well, what am I going to have tomorrow?
Right.
And what am I going to have on Wednesday? And what am I going to,
Yep.
it's like it can become very overwhelming. But
I
like
feel like all of our habits are like interconnected, where it's like
they'll all kind of affect one another.
Yeah.
And your bad habits, on the flip side of that,
well, it's like
all coincide.
the good apple doesn't make the other apples good. The bad apples, I can't remember the exact quote, but
Basically,
you know what I mean? Like,
all apples are bad,
Yeah,
and
don't eat
unless you
apples.
get the green, because
yeah,
there's
and then-
red and green.
I don't even know. Apples
Like
are
you,
weird.
so you eat apple. Basically, we eat apples and we
Apples.
eat them.
The moral of the story is that your bad habits are going to affect your good habits way more than your good habits affect your bad habits in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the bad habits you have. Say if you work out and that's your good habit, your bad eating habit is going to totally negate that.
Completely overtake the good habit that
The
you've
good
been
habit that
working
you
so
formed.
hard on.
Also, the habit of me just constantly touching my mic might,
As long as they can't hear it, it's fine.
that's probably has been heard. But that's
If you
a
guys
habit.
want Jim to stop touching his mic, please
Sound
let
off
us
below.
know.
Yeah.
You got any other good habits you'd like to form, bud?
Good habits I like to form.
Or bad habits you'd like to break? I think they wouldn't mind hearing either one.
I would like to use my phone less. That's a bad habit I'd like to break.
That's a
Is
solid
when
one.
I sit down instead of looking at something on my phone, just kind of be in the moment. It's. I'm not a very big social media person, but I like reading stories, like sports stories
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
You like to scroll.
I like to scroll, so it's I like funny videos, just like we all do. So like it's like
Yeah.
it's hard not to just pull your phone out right away and just start looking at stuff. But I would like to be able to sit down and just. I mean, on the weekends it's pretty easy. We all just. Sit.
I
But I
agree.
just mean during the week, with my family, go downstairs and just sit in a recliner or sit on the couch.
Just
and
be
not-
present with them.
Not have my phone.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be something that it's pretty simple.
Yeah,
Pretty basic.
I like that because I feel like really, like whatever, like if you don't like hobbies, episode 4. Yeah.
3.
Hobbies, like the more you have, the less opportunity you have to kind of be distracted by your phone.
Right.
It's always going to be there as a distraction that
Yeah.
you can be distracted by if you want to.
Yeah.
But like that's another reason to kind of like say, try to learn new things, try to do new things, because the more you have going on, the less you're bored, the less you're going to use your phone.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, I feel like just being a busy person, like there's good sides and bad sides of it, I guess. But like the one good side is like, yeah, like using your phone less. I agree. Like,
yeah, I think that's
and
something
being busy kind of keeps you from that.
Yeah, but
Keeps
I just
your mind occupied.
pretty busy, but I just think more so is like enjoying the peaceful moments. You know what I mean? Like being
Yeah.
able to sit down and not have to be like constantly, data burning through your brain. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You just get to sit down and just kind of take a chill pill and just be like, all right.
You know where?
Cool.
You know
what's
when
funny about
it's-
that though?
Sir, go ahead.
Sorry, but usually I'll do that and I'll be like, I'm gonna sit down and I'm not gonna use my phone. Like, I'm
And then you
instantly
fall asleep.
Like I do that with baseball games. I'll put a baseball game. I'll be like, I'm just gonna.
I'm
sit here.
gonna watch
watch
the
the
whole
whole-
game.
Like if
Go
it's not a weekend, chances are I'm gonna fall asleep if I sit down.
That is not me. I can't do that.
I can fall asleep anywhere, anytime,
Yeah.
except for on like the weekend. I'll never. I very rarely.
I
fall asleep.
guarantee you start building like a healthier eating habits and exercise
Probably,
habits.
yeah.
That's gonna go away.
Yeah.
I can guarantee it
Yeah.
because all of that stems from that.
Right.
Yeah, some people are working so unbelievably hard at their jobs because they have really physical labor, but
Yeah, I
doing
know-
that
yeah.
will
Yeah.
help with that for sure.
Yeah. Definitely.
When not using your phone and just enjoying being present is phenomenal is when you go on nature walks. Dude, Just last fall, I did that. I went to like one of the parks right near your house actually, and like I went for a jog. And like you go for a jog, usually you want to listen to music to kind of keep your like your energy high and stuff. But I left my headphones and I just jogged through the woods, and it was like a beautiful morning. It was like cleansing to my soul. I felt like a surfer on like a 20-foot wave. I was just like, this is amazing.
Joe Rogan says that when he goes jogging, he never listens to music. He said because it's a cop out. It's easy. He said usually when you're doing stuff like that, you should be talking to your body and be in tune with your body.
Yeah.
And I said, you're crazy. To myself.
And then I
don't
turned
talk
it
to
off
Joe Rogan.
and put my headphones on.
Yeah. Well, I have my headphones in already because I was listening to Joe Rogan. But like, I don't. I struggle with that. I definitely like to listen to music. I enjoy being out in nature.
Yeah.
But I usually will be listening to music or something. Like I enjoy listening to music and being out in nature. Like
I'll sacrifice. I will do. I can. The time when I can very easily not have, say, music on, or I don't know if this is like going off topic, but like we're kind of like discussing being in the moment.
Yeah.
Is when we're all riding somewhere. Like say all of us in the car.
Yeah.
If I'm driving, I won't put music on because I feel like it's like sort of like. It's not as like as personal, but some people will turn music on and just keep it low, and it's like kind of like that's the vibe for the ride.
Yeah.
Like you'll do that.
Yeah.
Like you always have music on,
I
even
always
if
have
we're all
music on.
talking.
Yeah.
But like I feel like I don't turn it on specifically for that reason because I feel like I can't be fully in the conversation if there is music on.
But I'll say that the difference between me and you, as far as being able to focus on multiple things, is
well, that's a whole other
that's
thing.
a whole other thing. But I would say that's usually why, like, because I can have it on, but I won't listen to it.
Yeah,
it'll be on, but I'm not necessarily listening to it. I'm just conscious of the fact that it's
that's
on.
fair. That might just be
And
me thing.
So they, when say the conversation dies and nobody's talking, it's not like silence. You know, there's that music.
That's
in
a
the
good
background
point.
that
Well,
kind of,
see, I will.
but I have no issue
Like,
with
if that's-
your way either because I ride with you all the
If
time.
that's like
usually on
what
long
we're
car
doing
rides.
is listening to music, then like that's a
Yeah.
whole other thing.
Yeah.
And like if you know that like people aren't talkative, or like say it's like the end of like say going to an amusement park, or like where you know people aren't going to be super talkative.
Right.
That's a whole other thing.
Which is funny because usually on our car rides, it's the ride out there that we listen to music, and the ride home that we
Because
usually
we're
talk.
talking
Yeah.
so in depth.
Yes, it's usually the in-depth conversations on the way home.
I like that. Not using your phone.
Yeah.
You should have like that goal. Yeah, iPhones give you that screen time.
Yeah.
Have the goal of like under a certain amount of hours, which is tough for me. Like I use my phone for work.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
I use my phone at work.
Plus, it's deceiving because like a lot of times I'll turn. I don't know if like anyone else does this, but like I know you do it. I'll turn on a show.
Yeah.
And just listen to it if it's a show that I've watched so many times.
Yeah.
Because just listening to music just constantly can kind of get to the point where it's like, okay, I want to listen to something other than music or a podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then I'll turn on a show like The Office or something and just
Right.
listen to it. So like then my screen time is like
It's
through the
crazy.
roof.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know I didn't use my phone this much.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's always funny because like, I thought I streamed a ton of music, and all that, and I looked at my like end of the year thing for my YouTube music, and it was like, it was high for what I thought it was, and then I like talked to other people, and they're like, yeah, I had this, and I'm like, mine was tens of thousands of less hours than you streamed, and I thought I was a lot, so I don't know, maybe I use my phone a lot less than I realized, but
yeah,
you know,
so phone time down.
yeah. Well, I mean, we have plenty more habits that we probably, but you know,
Well,
to
many
fit into
more
an
that we
hour.
want to.
Save maybe.
Many more that we want to start.
Yeah,
I would say there's.
Yeah.
That's the good news. Is it's looking
Life is
positive.
a revolving door.
So
Yeah,
and the good habits that you want to form are going to change
yeah,
as your life goes on and as your life changes.
yep,
Because you're going to care about different things. So
yeah, yeah. So I mean, that was our episode of the Everyman Guys. Now, again, we'll be releasing 2 times a week from now on.
that is the goal.
That is the
High
goal.
five.
So tune in every Tuesday and every Thursday.
Probably around 7. Can we
Probably
tell them around 7?
Around 7.
7 is a safe time for us because we work and
Yeah.
then get home and then like I'm usually like have. Well, see, I get it all ready for YouTube
Yeah.
and then like it's kind of like ready to
you
go.
You can post automatically.
You can have scheduled posts on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's what I was considering doing because like it would just make my life easier.
Yeah.
But really all I do is go in and just switch it from private
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have to worry about it, and it would be always at the same time.
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
it'd always be a premiere. So you know,
But yeah, that's the goal moving forward is
Yeah.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. And one thing I am excited to say, like, I feel like it's kind of cool to give you guys kind of like what we're thinking about. And I would love the idea of like shooting elsewhere.
yeah,
Like just like every once in a while, like maybe like say like once every 2 months we do like a special podcast where it's like
Yeah.
say a different location or something. And we would like to do a podcast in the future where like we kind of do like say like a where we reach out to you guys and like ask questions or like kind of like
Q&A kind of
read or
Yeah.
even like read stories from you guys like anonymously.
Yeah,
I think that would be really cool
Yeah.
to like do something like that where
Definitely.
like they can be you guys can be more involved.
yeah. Also through Instagram, we'll hopefully be posting more on Instagram and putting more.
Yeah, that's something that we actually just talked about.
Yeah.
Is that you doing
Yeah,
sort of focusing on the Instagram side of things and
we have goals.
me focusing on the YouTube side of things, which is easy because it's a good setup for us because of me having the video editing software that we need,
Yeah,
and then also getting the podcast on Spotify and
yeah. I'll be working
Apple
on that.
Music, Apple
Hopefully by
Podcasts.
Thursday. Yep.
Um,
But you'll be hearing this on Thursday, so
yeah.
hopefully it's on there. You'll be hearing
Yeah, so technically when you hear this, tomorrow will be Friday, and we hope you guys have an awesome weekend.
Yes.
So yeah, anything else you want to leave the people with?
Be good people. Really.
Be better. Be better people.
better.
Be better people than you were yesterday.
Because you
and,
always have room to be better.
and apples are decent at bad because bad apples are they make other apples bad.
There are good apples,
Don't
but
be a
mostly
bad
bad.
app. You know,
Apples.
like in terms of fruit,
And
don't be one of the. Don't be like because if you're bad,
Nope.
you don't want to be a bad apple.
But apples are okay.
Apples are okay if they're good.
In
Yeah.
general. If they're good
Mostly
apples.
because, and that's why.
That's pretty much it.
What episode is this? 6?
6.
That's funny because. Thank you for watching episode 6. We'll catch you on the next one.
Flip it up.